All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Strength Trials Draft Special. Here I am, Pick, along with my co-hosts, co-owners of Triad, Marcus Welsh and TLS. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to draft another winning team.
Hey, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm ready to draft the winner.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, you can say that. You can say that. That's true. That's true.
So, for those of you who've maybe been under a rock and don't know what Triad is, it's just a really cool project that we came up with this past summer. And we basically split this up into three trials. We had the bravery trials that just ended at the beginning of September, September 10th, and we had three teams, four people each, and so there were 12 total roster members. And Vodka Black won the bravery trials. She was a Team TLS member, and she took home the illustrious bravery triad piece. But Team Welsh was the team that overall scored the most points, and so all of Team Welsh, which was Sarah Wolf, Stephen Stratford, Alex Raven, and Thaddeus Duke, all have secured their spot in the finale of Triad for the year, which will be the Great Illuminatus. So
You got that right, baby.
yeah, so that brings us to tonight, where we will take 12 young Triad hopefuls and hopefully mold them and create a whole new set of twists and turns along the way and have some fun while we do it. And for the other 21, sorry about your luck. Or 20, how many? 20, gosh, how many did we have come out?
25. It was
Okay.
37, right?
So 25 of you. Sorry, maybe next year.
Yeah, sorry about your luck. I don't want to throw any names out just yet. But
So you said young, so that means that we're not drafting Ehud of Moab or the proctologist.
Poor Ehud. Well, Ehud died, so way to just shit all over the dead, Bobby.
Hey, I mean,
Yeah, but what didn't he have wasn't Steve Harvey his son or something like that? Like Ehud the third?
Oh, yeah. His son is already like 70, so so he's got like a great grandson who's in his 50s or some shit. I don't know.
That's pretty weird stuff there. But yeah, so we were obviously joking about better luck for the 25 of you. We actually, and some of you maybe have seen this on Twitter. We actually came up with what I think is a pretty cool secondary option for those that don't necessarily get drafted in the top 12 but do still want to participate. So for the first time ever, we're debuting this, the logo that is, and the name. Your second chance option is going to be known as the Tribulations. What better to go with the trials than the Tribulations? And so basically the idea here is each off week. So if you know anything about Triad, we're bi-weekly. So on the off weeks, we will be doing a live radio just like this, where we kind of recap a little bit about the show from the previous week, talk about the winners, the losers, things like that. But we will have one match, if you want to call it that, of 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that neighborhood, competitors who will, if they choose, take part in the Tribulations. And Will, would you like to maybe describe the Tribulations a little bit for him?
Sure. Actually, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm a little. Well, I know we're going to grade the.
Yeah, just tell them how the grading's going to go.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna on the off Tuesdays we're not doing the physical shows, the trials. We're gonna have the Tribulations, and we're gonna do radio. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss the matches and the role plays, and we're going to choose the winners live on air based off the role plays that we've read and graded. We won't read them on air. We'll already have them graded. We'll discuss them. And it'll be like a live show with winners being revealed rather than going through the process of having to write all those extra matches. And each off week we'll do that. until we get down to the final match, which will air on the pay-per-view. And the winner of that match will, like the Nickel Man in the previous trials, earn the number 1 draft pick for the final trials that will take place in February.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of a different format there. We're not writing a match like Will said. We're writing the matches for the 12 that are drafted. But for the tribulations, the idea is, it's a second chance opportunity. You're going to get to role play just like everyone else. You're going to get to participate in character development if you want on the CD board. You can write segments. You can be as active in Triad as you want to be. In fact, we encourage it. We want you to collaborate with each other, with people who were drafted, who weren't drafted, with the owners. We really just want to see this world that we've kind of created here expand to the best that we can. But we also want to limit the amount of work that will take, because as anybody who's been on this side of the fence knows, at some point, burnout is a possibility. So with that in mind, we're just going to, the way I would liken it to would be like one of those cooking shows where, somebody presents their food to the 3 judges, and the judges just, not like in-depth critiques, but, they just talk about the strengths, they talk about the weaknesses, and then they pick a winner from that group. And that's kind of how we're going to approach it. And the idea, I think, is that each of the tribulations will have 2 survivors, and those 2 survivors will go on to the final show for the tribulation, or for the strength trials. And so that'll be 8 competitors that will then write a second role play for that pay-per-view event, and then the winner of that match will go on and be part of our WIT trials as the number 1 pick. So it's a really cool idea. A lot of people seem to really enjoy the idea because they want to be a part of this thing. And so the only thing about it is, we can't require anybody to role play. We can't tell you, hey, this is what we want you to do. It's your character. If you don't get drafted and you don't want to participate, we're not going to force that. But we will have those matches made within the first maybe week after. Obviously we're drafting now, so in a week or so we'll have those tribulation matches, out there. And so all you really need to do then is, if you want to drop a role play for the week that it is, then you drop one. And if you don't, then you don't. And you're increasing the odds of someone else moving forward if you don't, because, like I said, if there's 6 or 7 in that particular pod that week, and 2 don't drop something, then 5, 2 out of 5 is not very bad odds. So it's up to you. We want you to be part, but we understand if you don't want to be, after the draft is over. It's up to you, but we really think it's cool. We want you to be part of this, and we're excited to have up to, what did we say, 37? So up to 37 of you 37. Participating in Triad this year. That'd be super cool.
And a couple of things about that real quick that pop into my mind. One is when we, quote, grade these role plays on air, we are not going to say anything negative. We're not going to sit there and pick it apart and pull your writing apart on air in front of everybody to hear. That's not fair. We would never do that. It's going to be talking about. Sorry, Bobby. well, maybe you can do it too. Anyway, we'll get into particular handlers later. But no, we would never do that. That's not fair. We understand how personal writing can be. So it'll just be talking about what we liked more, and who we thought did this best, and so on and so forth. And there will be no matches that will make your character look bad if you no-show. So if you no-show, whatever. We just won't discuss you on air because you had nothing posted. So it's just like you just weren't even there. So don't worry about anything like that if you were to no-show. And also, again, like we did with the bravery trials, this is an opportunity. See, if you don't get drafted, don't take it like they didn't think I'm any good, or they think I suck, or I don't fit in Triad. This is a first impression type thing for a lot of you guys. So if you don't get drafted, maybe it was because your sample just didn't connect with us. Maybe it was because your application just didn't seem, just didn't connect with us. So this is an opportunity for you to show us what you've really got. Say, okay, well, I kind of didn't put all my effort and energy into that first impression. So now I'm going to use the next 4 weeks to show them what I have. And you may not win the tribulations, but you might be good enough for us to draft you the next go around. Because of these 25 that don't get drafted, I am sure there's 7, 8, 9 that are more than talented enough to have been drafted. That's how deep this field is. So, you know, it's an opportunity to show us. And we're excited to see what you guys have. And again, if you don't get drafted, don't take it personally, because this is I mean, you could flip a coin for most of these draft picks. It's that there's some names that I'm sure won't get drafted that will just shock me. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's pretty well said. And, just to kind of piggyback off of that as we get ready to draft, just to reiterate to everyone that this is an actual draft. We, each of us did our own version of research as it pertains to you and the characters. If we felt we were maybe familiar with you already from the previous trials, because we did have 10 out of 12, I think, re-enlist, and then we have so many others that are just names from across Twitter, across just other feds that maybe people have been in, and just like as Will loves to say, real heavy hitters in the business, and we can't draft all of you, and it's kind of one of those things where we're going to go, at least for me, I can speak to my draft strategy this time, is I'm interested in hopefully, again, working with some folks maybe I'm not super familiar with, or potentially characters, and trying to find a well-rounded team. Last time we kind of went into it blindly with a lot of those people and found out that everyone was really cool, both in character and out of character. I thought, the Discord has been, lively from the get-go, and a lot of cool personalities with a lot of different, comedic timing and a lot of different balance with serious characters. So I'm interested in creating a well-rounded team. And obviously, since I'm the only person who didn't win anything last time, Will got the team trophy, and TLS had Vodka take home the actual Triad. So I'm interested in winning. So I'm going to pick some of the heaviest of the heavy hitters. Hopefully.
There you go. Yeah. One thing I think it actually I kind of like talking about what we looked for. What I am looking for in this draft, and what I looked for when I was going through the samples, was pretty simple. When I would read a sample, I'd ask myself, could this person beat Vodka? Because that to me is the standard. So I went through and I read the strength and the quality of the writing and asked myself, could this quality of writer compete with and beat Vodka? And so the names I've written down are names that I felt have a chance to compete with and beat Vodka. So that's sort of the criteria I used when I went through all the applications.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I know, man. I know. I'm a very interesting guy.
Bobby, what's your strategy?
My strategy was to look over the applications, right? I didn't do any reading of the sample role plays, but if the character seems interesting, I may be interested. If they don't seem interesting, then sorry.
So you just went off the pick basis? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. I went off the pick basis and the
color code.
Yeah. Also if they have a really hard name to pronounce, or nothing draft.
There's a couple of those. I think that's a spoiler alert, everybody.
All right, are we ready to get this thing going?
I'm ready.
Okay, so draft order. This is important because some of you know, and I think Will maybe mentioned it, that we did have someone in the Second Chance Battle Royal who secured the #1 overall draft pick in this set of trials. And so in determining the draft order, we decided to go off of team points from the first round. So even though my team did finish without scoring a win in the overall finals or the team finals, I did have the second most points. Of course, Marcus Welch's team had the first most points, and so Team TLS, because they were third in the Bravery Trials, gets the first pick of the Strength Trials. And do we want to do a 30 seconds for this, or do we just want to jump into it?
Nah, man, let's jump into it.
I figured you would say that. So without further ado, the first overall pick in the Strength Trials is the Nickel Man.
Well, there you go. Well, what can you say? He's a talented rider. He won the Battle Royal to earn this pick. I think one thing that's interesting is, and when he didn't get picked, he immediately left the Discord and was displeased, I think, with the fact that he didn't get picked. But you know what? Came back. He role played for the Second Chance Battle Royal. He won, and now he's the number one pick. So even if you have a little bit of those draft night blues, you can come back from that, and you can get a spot for the next trials. I mean, he didn't quit.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, yeah, just like you said, Nickelman's a strong rider. I think he has the talent to compete and stay close and win. So.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about Nickel Man or Charlie, he's an incredible rider. I mean, we've all dealt with him. He was in OCW for a while. And I mean, this is a guy that beat Bifford, I think, twice, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And if you know anything about the Big Bifford, I mean, he's a big deal. He's been around for a long time, been a huge, big main event guy in OCW for years and years, and GCWA and a few other feds maybe. But I mean, this is a guy that you can't sleep on the Nickel Man when he's motivated. Which he definitely is, to go against all of these, big name, people that could potentially be in the draft. I don't see any scenario in which we're not going to get his A game every single week.
Yeah, especially like you said, especially since he went undrafted, he's got a chip on his shoulder and he wants to prove himself. And this is a guy who's extremely good at his promo, and I know that because he completely eviscerated Mike Best in the OCW Cry Room. And Mike Best, say what you want about that guy, but he knows he knows how to get you. And Nickelman made him run with his tail between his legs. So this guy's tough, man. He's good with words.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nickelman went to computer camp with Big Bird, so that's where that toughness comes from.
Yeah, with his solid 5.6 there. So yeah. All right, so congratulations, Team TLS, Nickelman, #1 overall pick, member of the Brotherhood of Bastards and XWF, OCW, big time player, and he's one of those guys that you could easily have picked #1 anyway, but definitely earned his way in, and we're super excited to have him as part of our team, and looking forward to what he's going to bring.
Absolutely, he's a good guy.
So that's going to bring us to pick #2. That's me. So I'm going to turn on this draft clock here, 30 seconds to give me some time to think, and then I'll be back with my pick in just a moment. Is in with the second overall pick in the Strength Trials. Team pick selects. Y'all ready for this one?
No.
It is your favorite Jennifer Garner television program, Alias.
Oh, wow.
Man, fuck! I really wanted him, man.
I know you did.
I wanted to work with him. He's so goddamn. It's a good pick. I can't begrudge strategy. So he's good. He's real good.
Yeah. So I'll just say a few things here about this pick. So I don't know much at all about this guy. He's been in the Discord since day one. He joined when the Bravery Trials were first getting started. He's been a solid contributor, out of character, super cool, loves trivia, and everything that I've been told about him is that he's like this crazy, godlike writer in XWF, that he very rarely loses, just incredible from top to bottom. And so, I've gotten to know him a little bit, out of character. And when he posted his sample, really enjoyed what I saw there and saw the potential. And as Will said, thinking of someone who could potentially beat Vodka, I can't think of too many more people that had joined other than Alias that might be able to do that. So easily my number one. Super glad that I was able to get him, and I'm really looking forward to what he's going to do to you guys.
Yeah, when you go to these feds, they always have their, like you said, their godlike handler. Like if you go to Action Wrestling, they got Corey Black. If you went to OCW, it was, at any given time it was Pick or Mayhew or Bifford or Siren. You go to, and Alias is the guy in XWF. Everybody you ask or talk to from there is like, oh man, I can't compete with that guy. And so he's just, he's really talented because most of the people that come over from there are talented. And I don't know if he's taken Alias anywhere else other than XWF. So for him to put Alias into Triad shows a lot of faith and a lot of trust in us and what we're doing, and really flattering. And I really, really wanted to work with him, and I still will, but I wanted him on my team, damn it. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. All good.
Bobby, you have anything to add before we move on?
I like that his finisher is the close range uppercut from Mortal Kombat.
See, you knew something about a profile that I didn't know. Look at that.
Well, remember, that's the only thing he had to draft off of was the bio.
Yeah. And that's true. The finishers, the pick bases, and the color codes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually think the Biff voice would be a good Mortal Kombat finish him.
Finish him, man. Finish him.
All right, so yeah, that's me trying to beat that.
All right, well, I got my list, and I just scratched off the first pick that I had, and now I got to scramble. So.
All right, well, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about it.
All right.
All right, we're back with the third pick in the Triad draft. Marcus Welsh, take it away.
All right. Well, since you stole my first pick, I had to go down the list and see what's next. And, the reigning championship team, Marcus Welsh, we need a leader. We had a good leader last time in Stratford. We need a new leader this time. And what better way to pick a leader and to start things off than with the one person that almost beat Vodka in the first trials, and is someone that I really wish I'd have worked with, but I didn't get to in the first trials, and that is Catalina Cortez. Proven, tried, true, talented. Give me Cat as the face of Marcus Welsh for this go-around.
Man. I was hoping I could snag Cat second round. I'm going to be honest. I loved that character last time out. And I loved having them be the anchor for my team. It was just such good fun writing from top to bottom. And yeah, like you said, it was so close, but with the character and Vodka and Thad, and man, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good pick, but they weren't on my draft board, so you didn't mess up my.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so you're just gonna.
So,
It's getting personal now. I see how it is. My first pick wasn't even on your damn board.
nope.
What? You had to make room for Rue. Is that what it is?
You have to have a board to have.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Bobby doesn't have a draft board. He has a
All right,
dartboard.
come on. I've got notes on my palm.
Oh, now you're taking my gimmick. Is that it?
Yeah, but Cat, I mean, just very witty, very funny, very pop culture laden, role plays. The only knock that I have, and I know this isn't the place to, be negative, but just post the day before the deadline, like just help some Fed owners out here.
Yeah, I feel with Cortez. I feel that they are. They were so close in those first trials, and I love that second role play. I mean, that second role play to me was maybe the best role play in all the trials, and I feel like they're just a little bit here and there away from putting it all together and winning, and winning. I mean, look, it's one of the best riders in the game, so
yeah,
they're going to be tough, and they know what to expect too. So,
absolutely. Well, do you want 30 more seconds, or do you know who you got next?
For dramatic effect, let's do the 30 seconds.
All right.
Oh, man.
Come on, man! It's a production. It's a show here.
All right, we're back, and we are ready for Marcus Welch's second pick. So, second round, first pick, fourth overall. Who do you got?
All right. Well, this was sort of my. If I don't get Alias, I want to make sure I get this person because again, it's another really talented, accomplished writer that I've never worked with and I've only seen from afar, and I enjoy working with these people to kind of get to know them, and so I can just say, hey, I've worked with them, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. And I read the sample, very talented, and they should do well in the trials. So with my second pick, and it's a big one because now I got to watch 4 go off the board before I get to go again. So with my second pick, I'm gonna take Icky Watson.
Okay, all right. I'm going to be honest. I do not know very much about this character, but I did have them on my draft board based on the sample role play. The writing is incredible, but just really unfamiliar with the handler other than the little bit they've been in the Discord. But based off that sample, if what they have in that is what they bring every time out, that's going to be a really solid pick.
Bobby, were they on your draft board?
Tiki Watson was not on my draft board. Sorry.
There we go again. Well, I'll say that I know the handler. I've seen him around for a while. Finn Whalen, I think, was one of their characters, and then they had Dickie Watson in Fight. I'm not sure if Dickie Watson was in Project Honor or not, but anyway, they were in Fight, and they did great in Fight. And if you know anything about Fight, Vodka, Strat, Wolf, Jaymont, Riggs, Piedmont,
Father Time.
Father Time, yeah. The great Father Time, timeless, some would say. But I think Dickie Watson was almost like undefeated there, or never lost their title or something. Just really did well, very very well. Very talented writer. Now, of course, with the word cap and sort of what we look for, there could be a bit of adjustment. But like with Wolf and Strat, I have no doubt that if there is a little bump in the road early on, we'll have a couple conversations. They'll adjust, and they will, because as far as writing goes, this handler's writing is as good as it gets. It's just about hitting what we're looking for. So I'm excited to work with him.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
it's
good.
really, really good, strong pick. It was someone that, like I said, was on my board, but I was kind of looking maybe third-ish round, fourth round, if really was hoping Cat would land in the next slot. So thanks for that.
Take that.
But yeah.
Your alias, and I raised you a cat.
Anything else before we go to pick number 5?
Nope, I just get to sit now and watch all these great role players disappear.
All right, yeah. Well, I got a good one for you, I think. I think this one's going to be one you're going to be mad about too, which is good. I like that.
Wonderful.
Okay, we are back, and I have the pleasure of announcing the 5th pick in the strength trials. This is somebody that I have seen post on Twitter/X for a very long time. Seen a couple of writing samples here and there, specifically the sample that was provided for our enlisting, and was just really blown away at the level of writing that this person has. I do think they will adapt pretty well to our role play as far as the 2K limit, and I am super excited to announce that my 5th pick is none other than Dionysus.
Oh, man, yeah, that is a good one. When I read his sample, and I've read some of his stuff in XWF, but I was surprised how good he is. And not to say that I thought he was bad, but I just, he struck me as one of these sort of mid-level guys that jumps from Fed to Fed, because I don't know, he doesn't promote himself, I guess, like some of the others do. And then when I read his sample, I thought, man, this is some really strong writing, really strong. Like he's got it down to where every word he uses in his writing has purpose and meaning and is interesting to read. There's no by the numbers or just getting from A to B. It's all interesting in there. He makes the best use out of the words that he's got. And I think he's someone that could win the trials. I really do. And I would absolutely take him with my next pick if he was there. So that's a great pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
He was on my draft board, guys.
He was on your draft board.
Yeah, man. I love redheads. I love redheads, so.
You just like Game of Thrones, that's all.
Yeah, yep. He was my favorite character on Game of Thrones, so.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm glad to ruin it for both of you then. That's a good one.
Yeah.
and you know, he was one I thought I could get late too, because he's, like I said, he doesn't promote himself like some of these others do. I thought, well, maybe y'all didn't read the sample, and maybe I'll be able to slip in and get him late. But nope, you did your research.
Yeah, no, it was it was a really good. I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the sample had to do with like going to Kohl's, like shopping with a friend at Kohl's or something. And of course, I don't know the background of all the characters, but it was just like this, some mundane thing that someone would do, and you wouldn't think, kind of like a Seinfeld episode, like something you wouldn't think would be creative or really, captivating to most people. But I found myself just really enjoying, the character, the dialogue, the back and forth. Really was just something that was like, I've got to get this guy, and I don't think he would have slid to number 3, so I had to get him here.
Yeah, you definitely did. Yeah, I remember that sample now. I knew I liked it, but yeah, it's yeah, they were in the dressing room and they were trying on clothes or something, and the guy's name was like Little something. I can't remember offhand because I have a terrible memory.
Yeah,
but it was just really entertaining, and those are the best writers. The best writers can take something mundane every day and make it interesting, whereas some of the lesser talented writers, they've got to fight ninjas on top of a moving train in order to try to be interesting. So, yeah, I loved his work, and I can't wait to read more of his stuff. But, he knows what he's doing.
Man, did you guys hear that shade he just threw at me?
I was actually thinking about Titan 3. I always remember this one stupid roleplay he wrote against me where he was fighting ninjas on top of a train and he was dodging shooting stars. And then Mobley just went to the bank and his check bounced or something. And I ended up beating him.
Hey, whatever works, man.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Bobby, Team TLS, you get 2 back-to-back picks and you get 2 30-second countdowns. Are you ready?
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Give me 10 more seconds.
Give me 10 more seconds.
Oh, we are back live. We are back.
Yeah. Holy shit.
All right.
And
I think I'm good. Okay.
we are ready. TLS was having some trouble, but I think he's locked in. He knows his pick.
Okay.
And we are excited to hear what he has for his, what will be the 6th pick of the draft, but his second team member after Nickel Man. So take it away.
All right, so I'm going to take Anthony Mancini. I drafted his other character in the previous trials. I mean, I'm a big fan of the writer, and I'm hoping that he'll do well.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong pick. For those that don't know, the other writer or the other character was LCP, and LCP was kind of like was aloof, was kind of just all over the place, trying to be funny. And Mancini's just a completely different character. He wrestles in the mask of Black Mask, I think is the character name, and but also I guess occasionally goes without the mask. So there's a lot of nuance there, a lot more serious nature, and based off the sample, I think that is maybe in the wheelhouse of the writer. Just a lot more depth of character for this guy.
I agree. When he put in for Mancini, my first thought was, I don't know if either one's going to get drafted. But then I read the CD he put down, and immediately I said, okay, this is like you said, his wheelhouse. This is his environment, because it was better. I don't want to say it was a higher quality than the stuff he was doing with LCP, and he'll admit, he did so on Twitter, that he's not hilarious, and I think he's just, I'm better with comedy than I am with anything else. That's why I always do it. So it plays to his strengths, and I really like the sample. And I'm glad he's getting a second chance, because he's very talented and he's a very good member to have. And he does feedback, unlike most people. And, I think that's... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I actually liked his writing as LCP. So.
Me too. I just felt with LCP, it was, I just feel like he's going to be better with Mancini.
Yeah,
I think we're seeing more of what...
Yeah, definitely.
We're seeing more of what made him what he is with Warstein and Mancini than what we saw with LCP.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I want is Warstein.
There you go. Well, you're getting the next best thing, or maybe the best thing. This character may take off. You never know.
Yeah, but that's like a really good pick. It's one of those guys that was on my list. I kind of thought maybe 4th round I might be able to grab him. But it happens.
I will say so far, there hasn't been any what the fucks. Everybody that's been picked, I was like, yeah, they should be picked.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I can't speak for you guys, but like for my 12, I had a list of 20. And trying to get that down to even just like, I don't even know that I got it down past that. I just think there are so many beyond quality writers that we're dealing with here. And I mean, for a guy like Mancini to go 6, any other place. And I was telling somebody this actually just a little while ago. I think it was my wife actually, which is weird that she actually wanted to listen to the nerd stuff. But I was telling her a little bit about Triad and about all these people who signed up, and how, like, if you were to walk or to get on Twitter and go to any Fed basically and say, hey, I've got an Anthony Mancini, would you like him? I mean, I think every single Fed head is going to like jump out of their chair to grab the 37 that we have on this list. It's like the best of the best from all over, and to be able to put that together in just one single Fed is going to be incredible. And we already had the issue of judging was really tough last time, and I can't imagine how tough it's going to be this time.
Yeah, extremely. And as a former Fed head, and then there's some people I know who aren't going to get drafted, who if they joined OCW, I would immediately be like, all right, we're going to fast track this person to some sort of title picture, and maybe they'll get to the main event. But I would have big hopes and plans for them. And they're... Yeah?
Wait. So you fast-track people? Wait, so you fast-track people at OCW?
Well, people not named TLS, yeah.
The heck, man?
You didn't see Mike Best win the title in like 3 months? Mayhew?
It took TLS 20 years to even get a title.
But if you didn't have paragraphs just go missing in the middle of a role, you might have got there.
You know what? I quit.
Oh no!
Come on.
That's one wound that will never heal.
You know what? I'm gonna steal your draft board and I'm gonna steal your wrestlers now.
Oh man, well, I'll take Mancini. I don't know. Yeah. I'll keep my draft board. You keep your team.
All right. Well, Team TLS is up again, so I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to think about it, just to make sure who you want to stick it to Will with, and we'll be back in just half of a minute.
about this next pick.
Okay, so we're back, and go ahead.
All right, so I'm excited about this next pick. But first let me tell you a story.
Oh, here we go. We ain't got time for a countdown, but you got to tell us a story.
So I work with high school students, and this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. But I was in the break room, and then one of the kids comes in. He's like, "Hey, you know who Joey Badass is?" I have no idea who Joey Badass is, but I'm like, he's badass. And then the kid was like, "Oh yeah, cool." So the person I'm drafting, I didn't read their sample role play, but their entrance music is by Joey Badass. And also, I'm going to bring some diversity into the trials, and I'm drafting Spencer Adams.
All right.
Oh my gosh, that is the weirdest reason to draft someone. And not only did you land a heavy hitter, but maybe the best one in the draft. Like, and you did that off of the song.
Yeah, he's badass.
Oh man, I don't know what to say. Will, what do you think?
First of all, I like how Bobby said he was excited for this pick, as though he wasn't for the other two. And and I mean, look, Spencer Adams. I didn't know anything about Spencer Adams. I knew. All right, so Sean Parker enlists, and I thought that was Spencer Adams. And then Spencer Adams enlists. I'm like, is this the same guy? But it turns out they were two different people. But then I did some research and I found out, okay, Spencer Adams is the guy that did the 320 or 50 something EFED list that
Oh.
Yeah, he put that together.
Oh, that was him?
And that was him.
That was the guy?
Yeah. That's him, yeah. And but I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. Usually people do lists like that. They're not very good. But then I read a sample, and it was really good. Really good. Like Dionysus, it really impressed me with how strong the writing was. And he was one of those late in the game that I thought, he ain't going to get drafted. I did the research, and to me, I was like, okay, this guy's got to be on the board. So he went in and it moved somebody out that I really didn't want to take out on my board. And he's good. He's good. I think he's a former action wrestling champion, too.
Yeah.
So this is hey, Bobby.
Steal the draft, y'all.
I was going to say, this is a heavy hitter. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, no. I'm drafting all slap hitters.
Slap hitters, bunch of Ichiros and
Tony Gwynn's. Yep.
One thing I'll add to that. This was a guy that definitely was on my board. I had him just outside of the 12, and it's kind of one of those guys that I was hoping, if it didn't go the way I wanted for those first few picks, that he would be somebody I could go back to. And I'm really glad that he got in because the writing, as Will said, was very good. And if there's something to be said about having the guts to do something in this game, knowing that the potential for backlash is there, and doing one of the lists like they do, as far as like the top e-fetters or whatever. There's always going to be somebody out there saying something negative about it, or they feel like they should have been higher, or someone else should be lower. And I mean, it is kind of a popularity contest, but guys, I mean, this was an ordeal. He took time out of his life to organize it, put it together. It was supposed to be meant for, positivity, to uplift the community, to get somebody's name on a list, just, make you feel good about yourself. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We need more of that kind of stuff in the game as far as, positivity. You read your timeline right now, and it's just a bunch of nonsense a lot. So, to pair somebody with that has the strong writing that he does, I mean, he deserves a chance to be, have the spotlight here. So, I'm definitely glad that he's involved. Kind of wish I could have gotten him, but I've said that about everybody so far, and that's because I want all of them. So it's a great pick.
Well, you had 30 people on your draft board, so.
Yeah, that's because I read 30 role plays.
Hey,
yeah, it's a lot. And some of those role plays were not brief.
I've got 4 people on my draft board.
All right. Have you got all of them so far?
Yep, I have.
I think it'd be funny if Nippleman wasn't on his draft board.
No, well, I mean, he wasn't because he was a guaranteed pick.
All right. One thing I want to say about Spencer Adams and his list, like you were talking about, is what impressed me is he got a lot of backlash, but unlike the TIA guy, he didn't lose his shit. He was fine. He kept his composure. Yeah. And that tells me that no matter what happens in Triad, he's going to be chill. He's going to be cool. And there's something to say for that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he was like, kind of at the end, he was like, screw it, I'm going to do one again. So
yeah, he's going to do it again. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, stick to your guns. We love it.
Yeah. Yeah, but seriously, I mean, I agree with you, Pig. I don't understand why people get upset at people who make lists. I mean, you don't make a list or you're lower than whatever. Who cares?
And the funny thing was, people were like, it was just a popularity contest. Like, no shit, that's what it was advertised as. It was voting. No shit, man.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe people who had a problem with where they were should be nicer to people.
Yeah, branch out more. Do more of these things.
Yeah.
Get to know people. Don't be such a freaking jaded prick on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn. I'm going to take my 30 seconds and come back with a pick.
Are you sure you don't need 2 minutes or something?
No, 30's good. All right, I am back and I am ready to deliver the 8th overall pick. So we've seen a lot of heavy hitters come through here. So far I've got Alias, I've got Dionysus, 2 people that I don't know or did not know prior to the sample role play. And not to give necessarily a big story here, but this next draft pick is somebody who, when we first created the OOC Trials Twitter, and we're doing the whole mysterious countdowns and all of that sort of stuff to build anticipation. This was someone who got into our DMs immediately and continuously pumped us up, told us how great it was, told us they loved what was happening, began promoting us, retweeting literally everything that we were putting out, and didn't even seem to have an interest in the Bravery Trials as a participant, but just wanted to be part of the experience. And they continued that throughout the Bravery Trials. They continued that after the Bravery Trials. And Will, you can attest to this. If I think you know where I'm going here. This person was like a cock tease when they told us that they were going to be enlisting. It was weeks of getting my sample together, really wanting to tweak this and make it perfect, and just was like, it was like, I'm going to put my, what was it? It was something like, I'm going to drop my bio today, and then it was, nope, sorry, it's going to be tomorrow. Then it was going to be the next day. And we kind of joked and were like, is this guy even good, to put us off for this long? And when he dropped the sample, it was like, whoa. And so for everyone else, to clue you in, this is none other than Harvey Marks at pick number 8.
Ooh. Yeah. That's a good pick. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good pick.
it is. I think I even said after the second day where he said, I'm gonna post it tomorrow. It's getting late in the day. I said, all right, if this guy doesn't post his bio tomorrow, he's a troll. You know. And he did, but man, I was really. It's one of those where I was kind of anxious to read his sample because he put so much energy and effort into Triad, and he made it such a big deal for him to put this character in there. I felt like it would have been a shame for him not to get drafted, and I was really worried that maybe a sample wouldn't be the quality. But then I read it, and it's quite a read. But it was good, and I thought, yeah, all right, I think this guy, he's got a shot to get drafted. And he's just a great handler. He's a great ambassador, which is what we call him on Twitter. And he's just a great guy to have in there. I'm really excited, too. Like, I think this is the first time he's brought this character into an actual Fed, so, gosh, it means a lot. And it's a great pick, and I'm very, very excited to have him involved.
Yeah, I think he's one, based off of that sample, he might struggle with the 2K limit just because that sample was very long. But
I think you said it was like 9,990 words or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, right.
I really didn't get a chance to finish it. It was more off the writing style than anything. But what I loved...
Bobby's soul just left his body.
Oh, 9,000. Oh, man.
But what I loved about his bio was that he took time to write a shoot, basically, on all three of us. And, I thought how creative that was in your bio. That wasn't even part of the role play. That was just him saying, why should I be drafted? And then he directed it toward each of us and told each of us why he needed to be drafted. And, based off of that, based off of his Twitter, just completely... all the time, just the biggest Triad supporter. If he was still here at this pick, there was nobody else I was going to take.
Yeah, it would have been a shame had he not got drafted, and I'd like to say I would have taken him, but I've got some names on my list that I still are shocked are still there. But the energy and the effort and the enthusiasm that he put into his application is exactly what we profess people should do. And given the quality of his sample, if we didn't take him, then we look like hypocrites.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think he's the only other person that knows what Angkor Wat is.
Yeah, he got all excited about Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
That really drew him into the trials is when we announced Angkor Wat. That really, he loves Angkor Wat.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's mine. Will, you are back-to-back now, so 30 seconds, take some time, regroup, and get ready.
Okay.
The pick is in. We are back, and Will is ready to divulge the 9th overall pick and the last pick in round number 3.
All right, well, I've got like 5 names left on my list, and I'm looking through them, and I'm trying to decide who to go with. But I'm surprised this person is still here. When I read their sample, I immediately thought, oh, this is one of the top writers in the field, and it was a long time ago. So it would be regrettable if they didn't get picked. And I think this is it's a strong runner, and I think they could have gone a lot earlier. And I think it's gonna. My team, I think, is really strong. So I'm gonna take Sebastian Everett Price. Seb. I think I got all his names correct. Seb. S-E-B. I'm gonna take Seb.
What's his last name?
Price.
Everett Bryce. It's hyphenated.
Yeah, Everett Bryce. Yeah, Sebastian.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
back said.
Bobby, you may remember this guy, or maybe you don't. Probably not.
Probably not.
But he actually was in the Margarita mix and was one of the opponents. I don't think our team actually went against them in the mix, but when we wrote the role plays, or I'm sorry, when I wrote the role plays, he was, we made sure to include that team in the skit that we did there, if you remember that. But so I actually was familiar with the character from back then because I went over to XWF and read a few of the samples that they had there before they posted in OCW. And yeah, I agree with Will. This is a really strong writer. He's very, well, let me say this. In the role plays that I read, it was a very relational driven, it was with him and his girlfriend and the troubles they were having. And so it was an interesting character arc there, but not necessarily one that would maybe be super exciting, if that makes sense. So for me, the writing is there. I think he's fantastic. I think the sample here was really well done. Was just maybe outside of my top 12 just for those reasons. Just wanting to have more character, come out than maybe what we had seen in the past.
So you're saying that he gives you some Nicholas Sparks vibes?
I don't know that I'd go that far, but it was definitely relationship drama for sure.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And he going back to the Margarita mix, he came in with Sloan. That's at least at the time that was his significant other, and they didn't fare that well. And we had a little conversation after they had been knocked out, and he basically didn't get what we were looking for in OCW, and he only had one shot at it, so it made it tough. And that was my only experience with him and reading his writing. So when he enlisted, I wanted to read his stuff just to see, all right, was it just miscommunication last time, or is this guy not as talented as everybody makes him out to be? And when I started reading his sample, I thought, all right, no, he's good. We just, like Dickie Watson, it may be a little bit of an adjustment after the first trials, but he's got such strong writing and such a good grasp on how to put words together that if he understands what we're looking for, he should be extremely difficult to beat.
Yep. Yeah, very, very good pick. Interested to see who your last pick is. If this was your third, who you have batting cleanup here.
Yeah, I have no idea who I'm going to pick last. This is the hardest pick of my life.
Well, I'm going to give you a whole 30 seconds to figure that out.
Okay.
The pick is in. We have the first pick of the fourth round, and this is the 10th overall pick in the draft. It goes to Marcus Welsh, and Will, whenever you're ready, tell us what you got.
All right. Well, like I said, this is maybe the hardest pick I've ever had to make. It's so tough. There's so many good writers out there, and I really don't know who to take that's on my list. And it is the anchor of the team. You're only as good as your weakest link, so this link needs to be strong.
Wait, having said that, this is your weakest link?
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. Put words in my mouth. Hold on now. Hold on. Let me. But no. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Duke. I'm gonna take Sahara Duke.
Wait, did you take Thaddeus last round?
No, I didn't take that. I took Sen.
No,
Oh,
no. I mean in the last trials.
Oh, yeah. I had that
Yeah, okay.
my second pick in last round.
Okay.
Sahara.
Yeah, got that Duke connection, huh?
I do. Yeah, that Blue Devil connection.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this is an interesting pick because I 100% think and believe that this rider deserves to be in the trials based off of what we saw in OCW. Just incredible character development. Not necessarily. I think Will, you saying earlier about the ninjas on the bus versus just a more mundane everyday thing, but a really depth of character. This is what this writer is great at. The introspection, in some ways, the self-hatred of the persona, but not being willing to drop the persona to be the person that they feel they might need to be. Just some really good writing. Probably out of everyone, including Nickel Man, so far, the one that I've read the most of. And really enjoy the character work. Not 100% sure how that's going to translate into Angkor Wat with strength trials and triads on the line, but definitely worth the read. If you've never read a Sahara roleplay, strongly recommend it. Really, really strong writer.
You want to say some nice things about Sahara?
No, I mean, it's a solid pick. Just like Pick said, I mean, they, had really great success in OCW. So, I don't see why they can't have success in the trials.
Yeah. About Sahara, one of my favorite characters. I think everybody can see that on Twitter. I don't even know why. I think it's because maybe the character bothers so many people. I just think it's hilarious. But the writing is extremely strong. I felt with Sahara and OCW, some of the role plays were like, I need to put the title on Sahara. I need to put her in an OCW title match because this is as good as it gets. And then others were like, okay, what happened? Like, where's that? So I feel like there's a bit of a lot of that had to do with how heavy we were on the setting in OCW and how big of a requirement we put on that, whereas that's not as big a requirement here in Triad. She would go to like the gym and that would hurt, So I think with that not being as big of a focal point in Triad, I think that'll help her some because she does do real everyday stuff. She's at the house. She's at the, she's living a normal life, trying to balance being the wife of this, Daddy's Duke while also dealing with the stuff she's got going on in her own head. So, she's just, the handler is just, and he lives the character, So, I love it. I just can't wait to work with it. I love Sahara. I just love it. I love the character.
We know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's obvious. But there's nothing wrong with that. You get behind your character. Just whenever she runs across Alias, no bias in that grading.
No promises. Oh yeah, we'll be straight up. If I was that biased, she'd have won the OCW title.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got one more. Not 100% sure where I'm going with this yet, but I'll take some time and look over what I have left, and hopefully pick someone you guys think is worthy.
These are the last picks.
pick is in. I am ready to deliver, I think, the 11th overall pick in the draft, the second pick in the 4th round. And, this is definitely one I've gone back and forth on. No exaggeration. I'm looking at 8 names right here. And thinking, out of these 8, who would I want to explore as a character going after the Triad? And the name that keeps coming to mind is a familiar writer, somebody that all 3 of us will actually be familiar with, who is doing a different character than maybe what we're used to. And the thing that I appreciated the most, because I would not have drafted this person, 100% would not have drafted this person if they didn't write their CD. They actually posted a CD on the boards, and it showed why the character would even want to be in Triad, why the character needed to be in Triad. And it's comedic, it's well written. The only thing it didn't have was shoot, and I know this person can shoot because I've seen it. And so for the last pick for me in this draft, I'm going to have to go with Dad Bod.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah! Dad Bod!
Come
That's
on,
awesome.
man. Wow. Wow.
That's so great.
That
Yes.
is-
Oh,
Wow. That bot was on my draft board.
I
Come on,
figured
man.
you would. No kidding.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you don't know, the handler is Matt Mayhew. Also plays Matt Mayhew, I should say. And, if that character was on the board, he would have probably been taken in the top round. Just phenomenal OCW champion. And so the writing is there. The character is new, but it's funny. And, one of the things, as I was looking at the picks that I have so far, is I have 3 really serious characters with Alias, Dionysus, Harvey Marks. So I needed a little levity. I needed somebody to kind of balance that a little bit, but not sacrifice the writing. And so I'm really happy with this pick. I'm glad that he was there, and I'm glad that I had a chance to get him.
Yeah, Dad Bod. First of all, thank you so much for picking him, because as the primary match writer, I love writing characters like Dad Bod. There's just so much you can do, and knowing Mayhew, I mean, short of having Dad Bod get his throat slit open by a wild Angkor Wat resident, he'll be cool with whatever I do. So it's so much freedom there. But yes, it is Mayhew. He is a phenomenal writer. He won the Great Illuminatus last year, beat Vodka, beat Pick, beat Bifford to win it amongst many, many others. TLS also. And he said to me, hey, there's no shame in losing to Mayhew and all other 15 people in that match.
Don't be saying my name, man.
keep his name out your mouth.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
But one thing that's cool is Mayhew has told me that he enjoys writing for Dad Bod more than he enjoyed writing for Mayhew. So the fact is, we've got one of the best writers in the game going in the last round here. It's a new character, but it is, and he gets comedy like, I love it. It's great.
I don't love it because I was going to pick Dad Bod, so that's a bad pick. That's a bad pick for you.
Finally ruined your board for once.
Yeah.
That's
now you got to go and draft somebody. Bobby, now you got to go and draft somebody serious.
Oh.
He's got to add a 5th name.
Let me go look at the applications real fast.
All right, 30 seconds.
Go look at those entrance themes. Hurry.
Yeah. Let me go.
right, we're back, guys, and it is time for the last pick. Coming in at number 12, it is Team TLS. Who you got?
All right, so in the 30 seconds that I had to go over to that page real quick, and yeah, you know, I don't, I actually was surprised that this person was still still on or still undrafted, because I was gonna pick them, I was gonna pick them last time, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the cheerful clown, Glum.
Oh man, Glum is not gonna be happy about that.
Yeah, he's gonna have a bone to pick with you, bud.
Yeah, I can't hate the pick. I like Glum, and he stuck out the trials last go around despite not being picked. He was involved in I think every show with a fun segment. He won everybody over. He's dedicated as hell. Like I talk about Sahara, Glum lives his character too, unfortunately, for his psyche. His role play for the Battle Royal was really entertaining. And I think it's interesting. Go ahead.
No, was he the runner-up? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Was he the runner-up for the Battle Royal? Yeah, for sure.
What's interesting is the draft is bookended by the first place winner of the Battle Royal and the runner-up of the Battle Royal. I think that's interesting. Bobby's a big Battle Royal fan.
Hey,
you wrote that, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't write anything for the paper.
Okay.
What am I talking about? Pig wrote everything.
I wrote the opening match, I think.
Oh, okay.
Raven, Lachlan, and whoever.
But I think Glum is one of those characters that, like America, is going to be just awesome throughout the whole trials, and it's going to really enhance the product and add to the enjoyment of the shows. It's a very unique character, and I think it's a really good pick.
Yeah, I like the pick. Like you said, it was one of those things where throughout the trials, this was a person that wanted to be part of it. You could see it in the Twitter interactions. You could see it in the segments that were being written. It was just continuous, I want to be part of this. And when people want to be part and they show you they want to be part, it's really hard to leave them out. And it was one of those things where I didn't think we were going to see Glum get drafted. And that was it made me feel glum because this guy is, he does live the character. He gives feedback in character.
Yeah.
But it's a good character. It's a fun character. I'm interested to see how it will go throughout the trials because of I won't say one note, but we do see this character depressed all the time, and maybe interested to see how he got into this spot, and get a little backstory to the character, flesh that out a little bit, and see how the trials affect a character like this. And I think, Will, you said it with Dadbod, probably the same with Glum. I think there's a lot of potential for match writing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's a completely unique character, and with comedy characters, it's like Bifford. I loved writing Bifford and Alice Knight matches because you're not afraid to stretch things a little bit. Same with Cortez, because the handler, their writing and their character and the personality that they portray gives you that flexibility, whereas a really super serious character, you're like, well, if I had him slip on a banana peel, which I'm not saying I do that, but if I had him slip on a banana peel, would that piss him off? You question these things when you're writing matches.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I just want to explain my draft strategy for a little bit here.
All right.
There was none, but
no draft strategy, but here comes a 5-minute explanation.
But really, I was drafting people that weren't part of the, or not people, but drafting characters that weren't part of the first trials, right? So that's why, there are some names that, are left off that weren't drafted, right? Like really Knox, I joke around a lot with him in Discord, but he was on my draft board.
Mm-hmm. He was one that was tough to leave off.
Yeah, for me, you're right. And, Knox, he was on my team last time. Fantastic writer, fantastic team leader. He wasn't the number one pick, but in the Discord, the team Discord, he was the one that was always pushing for collaboration. He was the one pushing for rooting everyone on. Always excited about the where the matches would take the characters at times. The openings that would be available for the characters. And, it was one of those names that was on the board, but I think like Bobby, maybe not as conscious as it sounds like he was about it, but I think having that familiarity with him might have been a detriment because of that. Because, it is exciting sometimes to work with someone new. And, I think Matt Knox is a character that, him not being drafted, if he would stick around for these tribulations, that's somebody I expect to see on pay-per-view night. Just a great writer. I think you could say the same for Thad. I think from my perspective, the reason that I didn't go for Thad because he's already in the Illuminatus. He was on Team Welsh. Raven was on Team Welsh, and a lot of people might, hear us talking tonight, and obviously there's some notable names that are missing, right? I mean, we have, the winner of the Bravery Trials, Vodka, Sarah Wolf, Stratford, the Triumvirate, I think is what they call themselves, and they dominated the Bravery Trials. They were, aside from a hiccup here or there, they were winning matches every week. And, of course, Vodka won the whole thing. Both Wolf and Stratford won matches at the pay-per-view. And, the way the story went, of course, and I wrote that main event. I wrote the pay-per-view. And, based off of the role plays, based off of how the story went, they won the matches. They dominated the Bravery Trials. And we ended it with essentially that team, even though they weren't all on the same team, really taking it to the three of us. And, as I was sitting down thinking, well, obviously Vodka's going to go first, or obviously Strat's going to be in the top 4 or whatever. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, like, how would it make sense in character for Pick to draft Sarah Wolf after the antics that she took during the Bravery Trials? How would it make sense for a Stratford or a Vodka to be on my team? And, if they hadn't already punched their ticket to the Illuminatus, I probably would have still tried to draft them. But knowing that, it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. What's wild is I'm looking over this draft results, and there's only one from the previous trials in all these 12, and it's Cortez. And I know we originally talked about maybe doing a hard reset and just 12 new names, but that wasn't the goal. But that's just almost kind of how it shook out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just Cortez, nobody else. No LCP, no Penelope, no Knox, no Triumvirate, but
No Raven.
No Raven.
Yeah.
No
Lachlan.
No Lachlan Kane. Yeah. No, but I thought about that, because I could have had Thad, Sed, and Sahara, but Thad's locked in, and Raven, he's locked in, like you said, and Triumvirate, they're locked in. They don't need any more, right? They're good. They can chill, and we can let these other people come in. and give them a shot to get their shine and to get their notoriety. So, what good would it be if we kept drafting Triumvirate and they kept winning, and then we get to the Illuminatus and it's the Triumvirate Illuminatus, right? So I think it's fun to get these new people and to give them a shot, and they're all really, really good too. So I was never going to draft Triumvirate. Wasn't going to do it, and I'm glad they didn't get drafted. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have vodka on my draft board because I thought one of you guys were going to draft her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, they're talented, but where's the story in that? Where's the the story lies in the new batch that we got, which are super, super talented.
And I mean, with the way we left it, just to kind of finish up there, we left it with those three, holding the triad in their hands, and they want to be part of this. It seems like they've always wanted to be part. So if they want to still stick around for the tribulations and write some cool segments and whatnot, I mean, we're going to be open to that. We're going to be open to working with them. It's not a snub. It's just like you said, it's like. In character, I just don't see how it makes sense for us to have them on our teams.
Exactly, and I don't want to come off as like maybe what I said would sound a little harsh. No, it's nothing like that. It's the in character stuff, and even if they aren't in the field, they're still going to be present. I mean, we can't have it in like that and not have the Triumvirate looming over what's going on in the strength trials. So don't worry. Vodka and everyone, they're going to be involved in this. They're just not going to be part of the trials.
Yeah. And let me just say a couple other things, too. Looking down at this list, one name we haven't talked about yet is Penelope. Just a fantastic writer. Loved having Penelope on my team last time. Loved the character, the Hotel California, the mysticism, the witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. Just fantastic, and I really appreciate that writer. I really hope that they are willing to stick around for the tribulations, that they're willing to participate in character development pieces and segments. Another name that I wasn't familiar with, but was the Sean Parker. Really was impressed, with the sample. Really impressed with the interest in Triad in general. This guy hit me up in the DMs and was just like consuming Triad. Like, where can I get more? Where can I get more? And so I pointed him to the CDs that we had written, and he was just gobbling this stuff up. And so excited on Twitter when we even announced the Tribulations thing, knowing that more people were going to be involved. And so, these are names, Brooke Blakely, was involved in both trials so far. Another guy or character that was in OCW did really well there, really strong all over the place as far as in this Fed or this Fed, and really well known name. Just so many names that are on this list that didn't make it, and really in sincerity, I really hope you guys will play with us in the tribulations. I think it's going to be fun, and I really think you can enhance the overall experience if you'll stick around.
Yeah, here are the three that I felt should have been in the draft. My three snubs, as far as what I read. The first is Mark Cross. I had no idea who this guy was. I read a sample, and his CD work was tremendous. I felt his promo, while good, sort of wasn't, he kind of lost me a little bit in his promo and his sample. But I thought he would probably get drafted, and the fact that he didn't is kind of surprising to me. But he's a very talented writer, and he stepped out of his comfort zone to give this a shot, and the fact he didn't get drafted, sucks. But I mean, this field is really strong. But he would be if I had another pick, he would be my next pick. Right behind him is Aaron Blue. I really liked Aaron Blue's sample. I liked the CD work in it. I felt the character was very well done. And it was someone that I thought should have been drafted. And again, if I had another pick, I'd go with Mark Cross, but Aaron Blue would be right there. And then someone whose writing I felt was exceptional, but I'm not sure how into the game that they are, is Michelle Riggs. Oh man, I love the writing of this character. But and Ricky Rodriguez, same thing. I don't know how focused and into the process they're going to be. And so that was my reservation on Riggs, and my reservation on Ricky was a couple of times he's flaked in OCW, and I would hate to bring someone in and then they don't role play, and then you got to sub them out. And I feel like there's somebody else. Oh, Jaymont. I mean, I love Jaymont. I felt with Jaymont, it was maybe too heavy on the promo. I feel like if he came in, he might be too promo heavy and too maybe old school, And I want to see what he does in the Tribulations. He's someone that we might have missed on, but I don't know enough about it to see if he can adjust to what we're looking for in Triad. I feel like he's maybe too promo heavy. That was sort of what I took from him. And then there are others. And then Bacchus. We didn't take Bacchus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was looking down at the list, and I was like, wait a minute. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Super talented. Again, that's one of those names you hear all the time. Sample was fantastic. It just 12 names, Wow.
Oh, I want to also talk about Parker, because I think this is important with Parker, and that is, I feel like his sample wasn't his best work, and unfortunately for me, when I read that sample, it immediately moved him out of the top 12. And I did a CD with him last week, and I found his writing to be far stronger in the CD that we did together than it was in the sample. And I feel like had he had done that kind of writing in his sample, I think he might have been drafted.
Yeah.
And so for people listening, when you put that sample in there, make sure it's the work you want us to judge you on, and don't just. And I'm not trying to be, judgmental or throw anything at it or throw anybody down. I'm just saying his sample tripped him up at the beginning, and it was hard for him to recover from that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The writing on the sample was good, not the greatest, but I was really excited that they were excited to be in it. And again, looking kind of on the same lines, you had someone. Writing was very strong in Aru, Bonnie Derryberry. Those guys were very well written. Just maybe a little too much comedy. A little too much suspension of disbelief on me to think, maybe I'm not progressive enough, but, I just don't see a kangaroo in a fight for the Triad, and that's not to knock them as a handler. I think, the writing is exceptional, but just for me, it's kind of like, I don't know, it was just a little too comic maybe for my taste and for the trials in general, but I think what's really kind of cool about the community that Triad has accidentally created, because it really wasn't intentional, but we have this in the Discord, this running like miniature feud that's brewed over into Twitter between Rue and Raven, and it's like, what better place to settle the score than the Tribulations? You give these people another platform that they can write, that they can collaborate, that they can do that off-the-wall crazy stuff that maybe doesn't make it into the top 12. But you have these opportunities that maybe we didn't have before. And so, if the writing's strong enough, you're going to win no matter what. And so if a kangaroo wins the Tribulations, we're going to have to put him in the bravery or in the wit trials.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 12 spots, all these talented writers. It would be hard to justify a kangaroo getting in. It just would. Because, we get comedy. I like comedy. I write comedy. But how am I going to put a kangaroo in over Sahara or Seb or Mark Cross? I mean, these are people that, like, obviously when you put a kangaroo in there, that isn't your primary character, and it's not a character that you take really all that seriously. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I know for me, like if I joined a Fed as a whale, I wouldn't really give a shit about that character. I would just be having fun. But you got all these other handlers in here who are taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something to be said for that. I also want to talk about our boy Dre, Veronica Kane. This is just how strong the field was. When they first signed up, I thought, yeah, I'm going to take Dre. And then another big name, another talent. And it just got to the point to where it's just tough. You know, I love Dre. He did very well in OCW. He's a very strong writer. He's got so much backstory and lore in his characters. And the fact that he's not in it is I mean, it just shows how strong these trials are and that this roster is.
Yeah, you know, when I came into OCW, you know, Veronica Strader at the time was like one of the tops. You know, was the longest reigning champion, and really, you know, like you said, with the lore, the Strader family, Veronica, Tamika, Megan at the time, you know, the Cowgirls from Hell, all that stuff. Really, you know, coming into OCW, I'm like, wow, this is well thought out. This is the new type of writing, you know, coming back from, you know, almost, you know, 13 years out. So really strong writer, and you know, across the board, always into the character, always supportive on Twitter about things, and you know, that's one of those characters that I really hope Dre will write for the Tribulations and continue that character in, and let's see how Veronica fits. You know, you talked about J-Mont, talk about Thad if he writes, talk about Veronica, Penelope, Parker, Avenger. We didn't even say anything about Avenger.
Oh man, I loved Avenger.
Yeah.
I loved his work. I thought he would get drafted, and I almost took him, but man, I loved Avenger. I thought, yeah, man, Avenger. That's a tough one because that handler's awesome.
Yeah, and so you've got all those. You got Aaron Blue, like you mentioned, Stone, the Shazza Nasty character, just was somebody we just weren't familiar with. You know, there's all of these names that if they'll commit to Tribulations, it's just one role play over the course of 4 shows, really, and then if you win, you get to the finals and you role play again. But this is a group that, you know, just like before, I felt like, maybe even more so than before, I felt like if we could get one winner out of this group, that is a surefire WIT trial #1 pick. Like, there's no doubt about it. If you can win against all of these other people, you're in. And, you know, Nickelman did a great job with his role play, but, you know, we only had 5 that showed up in Bravery. Out of the, I think it was 11 that didn't get drafted that time around. So, you know, if more of these people actually do role play, this is going to be just as competitive, if not more, than the actual trials themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Another name that we haven't talked about yet is William Blake Mason.
Yeah,
in real life. And this is a character with a lot of history, and I liked the sample. It was just at that time, it was just tough. It didn't, when I read it, it didn't give me enough to say, all right, they're in my top 12 on my draft board. But again, very, very, very good sample, very good character. Just didn't get drafted. And I do think, I think that the Tribulations will be, if most of these people do show up, I think the Tribulations will be more competitive, and it'll be a higher quality of writing than the actual trials for Bravery work. Shazza Nasty, love the Twitter work. Love the Twitter work with Shazza Nasty. Very present on Twitter. Just need to see more from the sample. I felt the sample was lacking some key areas. But again, Tribulations, you know. Edgar Wallaby, he came back, didn't get drafted. I want to see more from Edgar Wallaby. I think that's everybody. Derryberry, solid stuff. Just need to see more. The Tribulations are going to be wild. And whoever, I gotta say, I think Sean Parker's probably gonna win it. I mean, he's my front runner right now because of how interested he is. I know he's gonna take this and he's gonna run with it. J-Mont probably will too.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, you can just see the dedication they have and the determination. Do you think, this is just spitballing on air, should we create a Tribulations Discord for these people like we do the team Discords? Or, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, good idea or what?
That's definitely something we can do. As far as, and you mentioned that, so I'll mention this too. If you did get drafted, please make sure you are on our Discord. We have the link on Twitter. We'll make sure we post it again. But we do create miniature Discords for each team. So, Team Pick, Team Welsh, Team TLS, we all have our different Discord. You guys are free to go into those things and collaborate, think of ideas. We do have all three access to each one. And that's not to spy, but it's more or less because, there's no reason that one of the owners won't know what's happening. Or if we hear, essentially the same storyline trying to develop between two, we can kind of, correct that a little bit. But, we'll have those. We can do one for the Tribulations if we want and have those people go in there and collaborate a little bit for that too if they want to write segments or CDs or whatever. Of course, and we're saying all of these Tribulation names, and we're still, Vodka could still role play for this.
Yeah.
Sarah Wolf, Stratford,
yeah.
Thad, the heavy hitters from the Bravery Trials could come in and do what they did and just run roughshod. So it's a huge field, 37 people. We know we're not going to get 37 to participate, or at least we don't think we will, but we sure hope we do. So please, think about it. Take some time. If you didn't get drafted, obviously it's not going to feel great, but think about it. Know that we really still want you around, and we really hope that you will consider, still being part of Triad.
Yeah, don't take being going undrafted as anything other than just a quick decision based off of first impression. That's all it is. And don't take it as any kind of slight. It's just picks we made based on the samples that we had. And if you get a little angry, a little upset, go relax and then come back and do the Tribulations. And trust me, we'll see what you got. And I think a Tribulations board could be cool or on Discord because they could rally like we were the undrafted. Screw these guys. They could do segments together, work together as the underground swelling up to come up and sort of unseat the drafted, and they could do segments, they could do running, they could do all kinds of stuff. I mean, really the only thing you can't do if you weren't drafted is compete in the official trials match and compete for that piece of the Triad. You can be on the shows, you can run in matches, you can have segments with these people, you can do all that stuff. So you're only limited from competing for the actual piece of the Triad.
Yeah, 100%. And one other thing, we didn't have this the first time around, but when we were planning Triad, there was always a contingency for a what if. What if real life happens? What if someone who did get drafted all of a sudden cannot participate? And we always had the thought that those that wanted to be around would be our first thought as far as next man up. We almost had a situation where Glum, found himself in the mix, even though he wasn't drafted originally. And that was not because we knew he was this great writer. It was because we knew he wanted to be part of Triad. So, if you do really want to still be a part and take part in those CDs, take part in those segments, and if nothing else, that's going to show us, hey, this person is somebody reliable. That if let's say if Dad bought, if Mayhew all of a sudden just can't be participating, or whatever, somebody can step right in that we know is going to be reliable, that's not going to miss a role play, that's going to be part, and so that's what we're looking for. So keep that in mind too. If you still want to be part of this thing, there's a chance. There's always a chance somebody has to drop out. Yeah,
and let's say, because when you've got 12 main event level riders, that means you've got 12 main event level egos. And let's say somebody loses a couple of times and they're just like, screw this, I'm out. You guys don't get me or whatever. Well, okay, there's an open spot. So, and like Glum, the only reason Glum was going to step in last time was because of his interactions. Like from this point forward, we're gonna judge the undrafted based on what they do from now on. So your interreactions, your CDs, the role plays you post for the tribulations, that's what we're gonna look at. Because if we're gonna substitute someone, we want someone who's gonna be there, and put in the work. So yes, hang in there because I'm shocked we got 60 out of 60 and all 12 stuck in the Brady trials. And I hope we get the same this go around, but there's a very good chance somebody bounces because it's EFED, and that happens.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just about everything we wanted to say. Bobby, you got anything last words?
No.
And a few words. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I'm pretty much done. I think it's a great draft. It was very hard. I think we did as good as we could based on what we had. And I'm looking forward to the hell we're going to go through trying to pick winners out of this mess. Oh, we already said this, right? The matches are going to come out throughout the week, yeah. So, yeah, now we move on from here. It's time for team collabs, getting ready for the first event, working together, getting some segments, and you take us away with that tagline there, Mr. Pick.
Yeah, we'll do. Right before that, just so everybody knows, I think I think we had the role play window opening. Let me double check here. So we'll have our role play window opening on the 18th. So that is just around the corner. You guys have just a little over a week to get everything together to get started. That window closes on the 29th, and then night 5 begins on October 31st, Halloween, Tuesday night. And we're super excited to have you guys. To the 12 that were drafted today, let the trials begin.